Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Imagination Megapark. Now, in the previous episode, I started work on this part of the Misery Marsh, which has a different color than the part we did previously. And in today's episode, I want to once again add 2 more attractions to this part of the park. Now, in one of the previous rounds on my multiplayer server, a player by the name of Bags made a really cool ride, which was modeled after Zamperla Demolition Derby. And if you don't know what kind of ride that is, basically it's a figure 8 ride with the vehicles, just moving along the track and getting really close to the other vehicles, making it look like they're going to crash into each other. But they all interweave with each other really nicely. Anyway, in this episode I want to give my own spin on this ride, which Bags really nicely did in the multiplayer park. Now, I also want to add a 3D cinema to the area, kinda the same like I did in Class Action Megapark. There I had a 3D cinema, which actually had some tentacles extend from it to make it look like some sort of octopus creature. I think that will also look really funny in this area. Anyway, before I start any building, I think it's time to once again name several handymen after commenters on my last Imagination Megapark video. Alright, here on my screen you can now see the 5 handymen which have been named after commenters on my last video. Thank you so much for the nice comments you left, and you will now forever be sweeping vomit in Imagination Megapark. And if you also want to become a handyman in this park, just leave some fun or interesting comments. Alright, with the handyman named after commenters, it's time to start building. Alright, all the tracks for the ride have now been completed, and I've also already started some of the decoration. Now there's just a few track merges which I have to check. Let me see, we need to go to Dinghy Slide 2 here, so this needs to be reversed. And here we need to go to Dinghy Slide 1. Alright, my plan is to spawn 10 vehicles here. And we'll use the River Styx vehicles, so let me already select those. River Styx boats, there we go. So we'll have 1 train with 10 vehicles. And let's just change this, temporarily change this ride name to something else, so it's easier to find in the list. Okay, I'm going to spawn the 10 boats. I'll lead the front one onto this track below the ground, where there's a control track, and the other boats I'll try to space them out evenly so that as they go around they don't collide with the other boats. So let's just change the ride to a ride mode that allows incomplete circuits. Let's put it in test mode, immediately close it. Let's keep the tile inspector ready on this track piece. Let's see, we'll need this one. Alright, whenever the first boat goes downwards, we'll switch these track pieces, so the rest of the boats go onto this track. So, let's put it in test mode. Alright. Okay, as you can see, these boats now all just follow right after each other. So I'm going to wait for this ride to finish 1 lap, and after that I'm going to space out all these boats. Alright, all the vehicles have completed 1 lap, Now, if I just change the spacing of the ride, these boats will move backwards, and they will probably stop here at this track merge. So I'm going to try and move the front boat here forwards until about this point. Then I'm going to try and change the spacing and see if the boats are able to all move backwards. And if that doesn't work, I'll just space them out manually. Okay, I will just quickly hide these dinghy slide tracks as we don't really need them anymore. Well, we don't need them to be visible. Alright, it looks like spacing the vehicles like this didn't really work because they all got bunched up at this track merge. It's something which I was already afraid was gonna happen. So I'm just going to try to space these boats manually. So I'll just try to put them along the track evenly with about 1.5 to 2 boat lengths in between these vehicles. Alright, the boats should now be spaced out evenly-ish. So I'm now just going to run this ride for a bit, and I'll manually adjust the boats as needed. Alright, it now looks good to me. As you can see, these boats all just don't touch each other. Now, it is still a little bit glitchy, so that's something to still work on, but at least the ride is now functional. So now it's time to make it look prettier and to actually attach a queue to it so guests can ride it. Alright, I've done the decoration for this ride. Also gave it a bit of a nicer name than just it's now called River Styx. Now, for some reason the ride also didn't get its stats calculated properly. Maybe it's because there's just so many tracks overlaid here and so many hacky stuff happening. So in the end, I just decided to force some stats on it manually, and that seemed to have done the trick. Now, it didn't make it too intense or exciting, as it is a pretty lame ride, I think. I did give it some nausea, because you are spinning around all the time. Now, with that, I can now finally open the ride, and we should see some guests hopping onto it pretty soon. Now, I said I was gonna add another ride to this area, and the ride that I want to add is a 3D cinema, like the one I did in Class Action Megapark. So it will have some tentacles extending from it. And I'll probably extend some throughout the area as well. And a trick that I like, that I once saw Jens J do in one of his parks, was that he actually, I believe he put flying coaster vehicles. So he made tentacles out of coaster track, and he put these flying coaster vehicles which would just wiggle up and down on it. So I think that's a really cool effect we can also use on our tentacles. Alright, I think that's enough talking. Let's go build our 3D cinema. Alright, I've added the new 3D cinema ride together with its tentacles. I call the ride Tentacle Attack. And I really like to see these tentacles wiggling around like this. Now I've also added a tentacle over here in next to this river Styx ride. I think it's also fun to watch the tentacles emerge from the swamp around here. And I really like this effect that these wiggling vehicles give. Now I've also added a little tentacle shop in front of the 3D cinema. I thought that would be fitting here. And a little area for the guests to eat their tentacles. Now, while I was building this, I also discovered that the Misery Marsh didn't actually have a toilet yet in the entire area. So I've added a little temple toilet over here. It's called Toilet. Yeah, it looks a lot like a toilet temple that I also did in the Class Action Megapark. That was also a really fun build. But yeah, together I think these two rides make a great new addition to the Misery Marsh area. And I think it's really fun to watch them. Now I've also added a new entertainer to the area. You may have spotted him. He's hanging at the end of the tentacle here. This poor mechanic. And yeah, he's actually an entertainer in a mechanic costume. And I'm going to quickly name him after one of my patrons. Alright, Zefax, thanks so much for the support on Patreon. It's really appreciated and I hope you enjoy your spot in the park. And if you also want to get a spot in the park as an entertainer, you can find a link to my Patreon channel in the video description. And as always, the support is really appreciated. Alright, that's going to be all the building I'm going to do for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like this video. And if you want to see more of these videos, you can always subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.